Ethan walked down the cold metal hallway of the alien space station. His boots echoed as he checked his datapad. "Maintenance room 47, he whispered. But when he reached the door, it was different. The panel flickered, showing strange alien symbols. He tapped it anyway. The door made a soft beep and suddenly slid open. Inside, steam rolled out from a warm room. The lights glowed blue, and a strange sweet scent filled the air. Ethan froze. In front of him stood an alien woman, tall, slender, her pale blue skin shining softly under the lights. Her silver hair was wet, drops of water running down her arms. She was completely unclothed. Her eyes were wide and glowing, purple. For a few seconds, neither of them spoke. Then she screamed, "You've seen me unclothed, human." Ethan's heart raced. I didn't mean to." Before he could explain, two large guards rushed into the room. They carried blaster weapons, their dark armor shining. Their yellow alien eyes locked on Ethan. "Seize him," one of them shouted. But the alien woman raised her hand. "Stop," she commanded. The guards froze, looking at her with fear and respect. She pointed at Ethan. "He has seen me in this state. If he is not my mate, then he must die." Ethan's face turned pale. "Wait, I didn't know. I'm just a repairman." The woman stepped closer. "Do you not know our law, human? No outsider can see a royal woman's bare form. The punishment is death." Her voice was cold, but her hands trembled slightly. Ethan noticed this, but said nothing. The guards aimed their blasters at him. His body stiffened. He felt trapped. "I didn't mean any harm," he said quickly. She narrowed her glowing eyes. Then she spoke, softer but firm. "There is one way. To save yourself, you must marry me. Right now. Marry." Ethan could barely breathe. "I don't even know your name." She stepped closer. Her silver hair dripped water on the floor. "I am Lady Thalira, Princess of the Azure House. You have no choice." He looked at the guards. Their weapons hummed, ready to fire. Ethan swallowed hard. "All right, okay, what do I have to do?" Lady Thalira snapped her fingers. A small floating orb appeared, glowing with alien symbols. "Place your hand here," she instructed. Ethan slowly raised his hand. The orb scanned it, and a strange warmth spread across his palm. Glowing symbol appeared on his skin, a mark he didn't understand. "By touching this seal, you accept our bond," Thalira said. She turned to the guards. "Witness this ceremony. He is now my husband, my consort." The guards lowered their weapons, but kept staring at Ethan with cold, angry faces. Thalira looked at Ethan again. "Now you are safe. For now.
How?
But everything has changed for you, human." Ethan felt sweat on his forehead. Why? Why does this law exist? But Thalira did not answer. Instead, she walked to a panel and pressed a button. The door slid shut behind them, locking tight. "You don't understand where you are," she said quietly. "You don't know who you have just married." Her words made Ethan's stomach twist. The calm in her voice felt dangerous. Was this really an accident, or had she planned this somehow? The warm air of the room now felt heavy. The scent of strange alien oils filled his nose. His heart pounded as he looked at her. The alien woman, who was now somehow his wife, Lady Thalira, raised her head, her wet hair falling down her back. She looked at him carefully, her eyes unreadable. "I saved you from death," she whispered. "But now they will come for us both." A sudden loud alarm rang through the space station. Red lights flashed in the corners. The guards outside shouted orders. Thalira's face grew serious. "It has begun," she said. Ethan felt dizzy. "What? What has begun?" "The hunt," she replied. Before Ethan could ask more, she grabbed his wrist tightly. Her grip was surprisingly strong. "Come with me, human husband," she said quickly. "We stay here, they will kill us both." At that moment, Ethan realized that everything had changed. His simple repair job had become something else, something far more dangerous. And beside him, his new wife was leading him into a future he did not understand. Ethan followed Lady Thalira through narrow, twisting corridors of the alien space station. Red lights flashed on the walls, alarms still echoing. His mind raced. Just moments ago, he was a technician fixing a door. Now he was married to an alien princess, and people wanted to kill him. Thalira walked fast, pulling him along. Her wet silver hair clung to her shoulders. The mark glowing on Ethan's palm felt warm, almost alive. Every step they took, the mark pulsed softly. "Where are we going?" Ethan asked, panting. Thalira stopped suddenly at a hidden door. She touched a small panel, and a secret passage opened. She turned and looked at Ethan, her glowing eyes serious. "To the Hall of Binding. Our marriage must be made official there. What we did earlier was only a quick rite, without the formal bond. This station will not protect you." "What do you mean, not protect me?" Ethan asked. "The guards accepted the first rite, but others will not," she explained. "The formal bond is recognized by the Royal Council. Only then will you truly be my husband and safe?" Ethan hesitated. Why would they care so much about a marriage? "This is crazy." Thalira's voice grew softer. "You do not understand my people, human. To them, honor is everything. If I marry an outsider, it must be public. If I refuse, they will say I am unworthy. If you refuse, they will hunt you until you die." Her words chilled him. "Then why did you let this happen?" Ethan whispered. She lowered her eyes for the first time. "Maybe I needed an excuse. Maybe I didn't want to marry the warlord they chose for me." Ethan stared at her. Was he just part of her escape plan? Before he could think more, the passage door behind them opened again. Guards in silver armor appeared, but these guards looked different. Their armor bore a golden crest. "The royal enforcers," Thalira whispered. "They have come early." The leader stepped forward. His face was sharp and cold. "Lady Thalira, we have orders from the royal house. You must return and complete your betrothal to Prince Valdric. This human means nothing." Thalira stood tall. "Is my husband now. He has taken the rite." The leader smiled cruelly. "Simple rite means nothing without formal binding. Come quietly or face judgment." Ethan's heart pounded. Thalira reached back and grabbed his hand tightly. "Run," she said softly. Suddenly, she pushed a button on her bracelet. Smoke filled the tunnel instantly. Ethan coughed as she pulled him forward through another hidden exit. They ran into a wide chamber, ancient, circular, with alien symbols glowing on every wall. In the center was a raised platform. Thalira turned to him quickly. "Stand there," she commanded. Ethan obeyed, stepping onto the platform. Strange lights surrounded him. Symbols on the floor began to glow brighter, spinning around his feet. Thalira stepped up beside him and spoke loudly. "This is the Hall of Binding. I declare this union complete under ancient law." A strange machine lowered from the ceiling. It hummed with energy, scanning them both. Ethan felt the warm mark on his palm burn brighter. Suddenly a thin bracelet snapped around his wrist. Matching one appeared on Thalira's wrist. A deep alien voice echoed through the chamber. "Binding recognized." "Marriage complete." Ethan's head spun. "It's done." Thalira nodded. "Now, you are truly my husband in the eyes of my people." Just then, the royal enforcers burst into the hall. But they stopped short when they saw the glowing bracelets. The leader of the guard sneered. "You played us well, Thalira. But this is not over. Prince Valdric will not accept this insult." He signaled to his men and they turned and left. Disappearing back into the shadows, silence fell in the Hall of Binding. Ethan looked at Thalira, his chest still heaving from fear and confusion. She turned to him, her face calm but her eyes shining. "You have saved my life by agreeing to this. But now, human, our troubles have only just begun." The glowing bracelets pulsed again, as if sealing their fate together. Ethan's stomach twisted. "Wait, what happens next?" he asked quietly. Thalira looked toward the high ceiling of the chamber. "Now we must survive together." Ethan sat on a small bench in Thalira's private quarters. The room was beautiful but strange. Smooth walls that glowed soft blue. Strange plants that floated in the air, and no chairs, only long curved benches. His mind was spinning. Hours ago, he was just a technician. Now he was married to an alien princess and running for his life. Thalira stood near a window, looking out into space. Her silver hair shone under the pale light. She spoke without turning. You must have many questions, human. Ethan nodded slowly. Yes, I do. Why did you do this? Was this really all because I saw you unclothed? She turned at last, her glowing purple eyes locking on him. That was only the excuse, she said softly. Ethan frowned. Then why? Why me? Thalira walked closer. I've been looking for a way out from many cycles. My father, the High King, promised me to Prince Valdrek, a cruel warlord from the outer worlds. If I married him, I would become a prisoner. Forever, her voice trembled for the first time. But there is an old law. If a royal woman is caught unclothed by a stranger, she can claim him as her husband and escape any other promise of marriage. Ethan's eyes widened. You set this up. Thalira looked away. Yes, she whispered. I hacked the door controls so it would open when you arrived. I chose you because you were human. Your kind has no stake in our politics. You seemed harmless. Her words stung. So I was just part of your plan? Ethan asked quietly. She stepped closer, kneeling so they were eye to eye. At first, yes. But then, you surprised me. Ethan blinked. How? You did not try to run. You did not beg. You agreed, even though you didn't understand. That was brave. He sat back. Brave. No, just scared. Thalira shook. Her head slowly. You think bravery means no fear? But to act even while afraid, that is true courage. Suddenly, the room darkened. A voice spoke from the ceiling, deep, cold, and cruel. Thalira, my bride, you have disappointed. Me! Ethan jumped up. Who's that? Thalira's face paled. Prince Valdrek, she whispered. He is here, on this station. The voice continued. You cannot hide, my princess. The council may recognize your bond with this human, but I do not. I will find you both. Ethan felt a chill run through him. He can speak through your room. Thalira nodded grimly. He controls much of this station now. His spies are everywhere. Ethan took a deep breath. Then we need to leave right now. Thalira walked to a wall panel and pressed her palm on it. Secret passage opened behind a shelf. Inside, dim lights showed another tunnel, but before they could enter, Thalira paused. Shh. Before we go, she said softly, you must know something else. Ethan looked at her carefully. Shh. She hesitated, then spoke. You are not just my husband now. The bond we performed gave you royal status. You are a prince. Ethan's mouth fell open. A prince. Yes, Thalira said, her voice serious. But that also means you are a target now. Anyone who kills you will gain great honor, and Valdrek will not stop hunting you. Ethan leaned against the wall, overwhelmed. I just came here to fix a door, he whispered. Thalira allowed a small, sad smile. And now you are part of a royal war. Her hand reached out gently and took his. Come, human prince, she said softly. We must move fast, before Valdrek finds us. As they disappeared into the tunnel, the station lights flickered, and a cold wind blew through the air vents, as if the space station itself knew a dangerous new game had begun. Asterisk, the secret tunnel was cold and narrow. Dim lights flickered along the ceiling as Ethan followed Thalira deeper into the shadows. His mind was spinning. One moment he was fixing doors, and now he was married, a prince, and running for his life. But there was no time to think. Thalira's face was tense. She walked fast, every step sure and careful. Suddenly she stopped. Ethan almost bumped into her. What is it? He whispered. Thalira raised a finger to her lips, then pointed ahead. A faint sound echoed in the tunnel, soft. Footsteps. Ethan froze. Someone's coming? Yes, she said quietly. Assassins. At that moment, a sharp noise behind them made Ethan spin around. A door they had passed earlier was opening slowly, silently. From the darkness, tall figures in black cloaks stepped out. Their faces were hidden behind silver masks. their eyes glowing red. The lead assassin spoke with a low voice. "Lady Thalira, the prince sends his regards." Without hesitation, Thalira pulled a small device from her belt and pressed a button. The floor under Ethan's feet suddenly shifted, revealing and slid, revealing a trapdoor. "Jump!" Thalira shouted. Ethan didn't think. He jumped, and she followed close behind. They fell into a dark chute, sliding fast down a twisting metal tunnel. Sparks flew around them as they rushed downward. Finally, they landed hard in a large dark room deep inside the station's lower levels. Ethan groaned. "Where are we now?" Thalira stood quickly. "The waste sector. Few dare come here, but they will follow." Ethan's heart pounded. "How many assassins did Valdrek send?" Thalira looked at him with sad eyes. "All of them." Before Ethan could ask more, a loud bang echoed through the walls. The assassins had already found the trapdoor. Thalira ran to a panel and opened a compartment. Inside were old tools and metal parts. She threw a small object to Ethan. "Take this, a plasma cutter. If they reach this room, we fight." Ethan looked at the tool in his hand. It was heavy, glowing faint blue at the tip. "Fight. I'm just a repairman." Thalira gave a small smile. "Then use your skills to save your life." Suddenly a voice came from above, cold and cruel. "You can't hide, Thalira. The prince will have your head, and your humans too." No. The assassins began cutting through the ceiling. Ethan's breath quickened. "They're breaking through." Thalira nodded calmly. "Good, let them come." Ethan looked at her, shocked. "Good." She pointed to a large metal pipe running along the ceiling. "That pipe carries plasma fuel. When they cut it, it will leak. If you use your cutter at the right moment, boom." Ethan realized the plan. A trap. The ceiling cracked. A silver blade sliced through, followed by the dark hands of an assassin pulling open the panel. Thalira stepped back. "Now, Ethan." He raised the plasma cutter, aimed carefully, and activated it. A bright flash, then a massive explosion shook the room. Blue fire roared through the chamber as the assassin screamed. The shockwave knocked Ethan down. Smoke filled the air. When it cleared, the ceiling was gone, and so were the assassins. Thalira helped Ethan stand. "You see, you may be a repairman, but you are a clever one." Ethan coughed, smiling weakly. "Yeah, guess I am." But Thalira's face grew serious. Again, this was only the first wave. Valdrek will not stop. She took his hand gently. "Come, husband. We must leave this station. Only then will we truly be safe." Ethan nodded slowly. "Where will we go?" Thalira's eyes flashed. "It's to my homeworld, but we will not go as prisoners. We will go as fugitives, and maybe as rebels." Two of them disappeared into another tunnel, leaving behind the smoke and ruin, but knowing far greater dangers waited ahead. The air was cold and thin as Ethan and Thalira stepped out of the waste tunnels into a hidden docking bay. Old ships rested here, forgotten and broken. The lights flickered, casting long shadows. Thalira walked quickly between the ships, scanning. Then with a small device, "We need a working shuttle," she said. "Prince Valdrek's soldiers will return soon." Ethan followed, his heart still racing. His hands trembled, looked at Thalira, the proud, strong alien princess, and felt a strange mix of fear and curiosity. Finally, Thalira stopped at an old shuttle. "This one? It still works." She climbed inside, checking controls. Ethan followed, but couldn't stop staring at her. "You don't look scared at all," he said quietly. Thalira paused. She didn't answer right away. Instead, she lowered her head. "I am scared, Ethan," she admitted softly. "More than you know." Her honesty surprised him. She was a royal princess, born into power and tradition, yet here she was, running like a fugitive. "Why did you choose me?" Ethan asked carefully. "You could have picked any technician." Thalira finally looked at him, her glowing purple eyes softer now. "Because you are human." Ethan blinked. "Human? What does that matter?" Thalira explained. "Your people are different. The council fears you because you are unpredictable. They say humans act on emotion, not logic. You take risks. You love deeply. I needed someone like that. Her words made Ethan's heart beat faster. You needed love. Thalira looked down at her wrist, where the glowing marriage bracelet still pulsed. At first I only needed escape, but now, she stopped. Ethan stepped closer. Now what? Thalira raised her eyes. Now, I am starting to care what happens to you. The small shuttle felt silent. Even though alarms still echoed in the far distance, for a moment, it was just the two of them. Ethan smiled gently. I care what happens to you too? Suddenly a loud crash echoed through the bay. A patrol of Valdric soldiers had found them. Dark figures in heavy armor ran into view, weapons raised. Stop them, one soldier shouted. Thalira's face hardened. Get in the pilot's seat, Ethan, she said quickly. I will hold them back. Ethan froze. But I can't fly this thing. You can, Thalira said with confidence. You fix machines? This is just another machine. She pulled out a small alien blaster and turned toward the soldiers. Without hesitation, Ethan sat down in the pilot's seat. The controls were strange, symbols he didn't know, but some buttons looked familiar enough. He took a deep breath and powered up the engines. Outside, blaster fire lit up the docking bay. Thalira fought bravely, moving quickly, her silver hair flowing as she dodged shots and fired back. Ethan flipped a switch. The shuttle hummed to life. The doors began to close. Thalira, get in, he shouted. She turned, running toward the shuttle as soldiers fired wildly. A shot nearly hit her shoulder, just before the doors closed completely. She leaped inside, rolling across the floor. Ethan pulled the launch lever. With a roar, the old shuttle lifted into the air and shot out of the docking bay, escaping into the dark void of space. Inside the cockpit, Thalira sat beside Ethan, breathing hard. Her hair was messy, her clothes torn, but she smiled, truly smiled for the first time. You did it, she said softly. Ethan smiled back. We did it. For a brief moment, even though they were fugitives running from assassins, they felt close. A real bond was starting to grow, no longer just because of a strange alien law, but because they were fighting together, surviving together. Outside the window, stars stretched endlessly. Somewhere out there, Prince Valdric was hunting them. Escaped, and they were together. Asterisk, the shuttle flew quietly through deep space. The stars outside the window looked peaceful, but inside the cockpit, Ethan and Thalira felt no peace. Ethan checked the controls. I don't know where we're going, he admitted. The ship's navigation system is in your language. Sat beside him, her eyes thoughtful. We can't go back to my homeworld, she said quietly. Valdric will expect that, Ethan frowned. Then where? Thalira turned toward him. There's an old smuggler station near the rings of Jorith. It's hidden, abandoned. We can hide there while we make a real plan. Ethan nodded. All right, give me the coordinates. As Thalira programmed the destination, she explained something strange. That station was once used by rebels long ago. My people destroyed most rebel bases, but this one is still intact. Forgotten. Ethan raised an eyebrow. Rebels, you mean? People who fought your royal family? Thalira hesitated. Yes, they fought for freedom, but they lost. For the first time, Ethan wondered if Thalira agreed with her family's rule. Before he could ask more, a sharp alarm beeped from the control panel. A red symbol flashed. What is it? Ethan asked quickly. Thalira leaned over the panel, and her face turned pale. They've tagged us. A tracking device is on this shuttle. Ethan's stomach twisted. How did they tag us so fast? Thalira's. The voice was quiet. Valdric always plans ahead. He must have hidden it before we even entered the docking bay. They both sat in silence for a moment. Finally, Thalira spoke. We need to remove the tracker and fake our destruction. Fake our destruction? Ethan repeated. Yes, she said firmly. We need to make them think we're dead. Ethan took a deep breath. How do we do that? Thalira smiled faintly. You're a repairman. Can you dismantle part of this ship and turn it into a decoy? Ethan's eyes lit up. Yes, I think I can. They moved fast. Ethan climbed into the back of the shuttle, opening panels, pulling wires, unscrewing parts. He worked with careful speed, guided by Thalera's instructions. He found the tracker, a small glowing device hidden inside the rear thruster. He gently removed it and placed it inside a broken escape pod they found in storage. We'll launch the pod, Ethan explained. If we overload it and blow it up, they'll think it was us. Thalera nodded approvingly. Clever, human. Ethan worked. He noticed Thalera watching him closely. What? He asked. She smiled softly. I chose you because you are unpredictable. I needed someone who thinks differently. And you are proving I was right. Ethan felt a warm feeling. In his chest, thanks, I guess. Minutes later, they were ready. Thalera aimed the escape pod toward a nearby asteroid field. When it explodes, she said, Valdrek's hunters will think we died there. Ethan stood beside her, looking out at the stars. Are you ready? She asked. He nodded. Let's do it. With a press of a button, the pod launched. It flew straight into the asteroid belt. Then Ethan activated the overload switch. A bright explosion lit up space. Inside their shuttle, all systems went dark as Ethan shut everything off. No signals, no lights. They would look like debris now. Just another piece of space junk. For several long minutes, they drifted silently. Ethan held his breath. Then Thalera checked a small scanner. It worked, she whispered. Valdrek's ships are leaving. They think we're gone. Ethan let out a deep sigh of relief, but Thalera's face grew serious again. Ow. This is only a pause, she warned. Sooner or later, Valdrek will learn we survived. We need a long-term plan. Ethan looked at her, really looked this time. Do you have one? Thalera met his gaze with determination. Yes, she said. We'll hide at the smuggler station. But then we'll gather allies. Valdrek thinks I'm weak. But he's wrong. Her voice was strong and steady now. I didn't just marry you to escape him, Ethan, she said. I married you because I needed a partner who thinks differently. Who can help me fight back? Ethan felt his heart pound. Fight back? Are you saying we're starting a rebellion? Thalera smiled. For real this time. Yes. Together.
Outside the stars stretched endlessly, and for the first time,
Ethan realized this wasn't just about survival anymore. It was the start of something much bigger. The shuttle drifted quietly toward the hidden smuggler station near the rings of Jorith. From a distance, the station looked abandoned. Broken antennas, rusted metal, dark windows. Inside, the power still worked, and the shadows held. Secrets, Ethan carefully guided the shuttle into a small docking port. The ship rattled as it landed, but they had made it. Thalera stood beside him, looking at the dark structure. This place was once a base for rebels who tried to overthrow my family, she said softly. Now it will be our home. Ethan stepped out first, his boots echoing on the old metal floor. It's quiet, he whispered. Too quiet. Thalera replied as they explored. Ethan noticed strange marks on the walls, graffiti, rebel symbols, old bullet holes. The place smelled of dust and metal. But even in this forgotten place, Thalera moved with grace and confidence. They reached what looked like a control room. Thalera touched an old panel, and, surprisingly, the lights flickered on. This will be our command center, she said. Ethan smiled nervously. Command center? You're really serious about starting a rebellion, aren't you? Thalera turned. To him, her purple eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. Yes, Valdrek will not stop. The only way we will ever be safe is if we stop him first. For a moment, Ethan felt the full weight of this situation. He was just a technician. He had never planned to fight a war, but somehow, in the last few days, everything had changed. He looked at Thalera again. She was no longer just an alien princess in trouble. She was his partner now. Suddenly, the screen on the old control panel lit up. A signal was coming through, an encrypted message. Thalera quickly translated the symbols. It's from someone on my homeworld, she said quietly. There are others. Others who hate Valdrek too. They are waiting for a leader. Ethan stepped closer. And you'll lead them? Thalira nodded slowly. Yes, but I don't want to do this alone. She turned to him fully. Ethan, I know this marriage began as a trick. I used an old law to escape my fate. But now, I see you differently. Her voice softened. You helped me when you didn't have to. You fought beside me, saved us both. Ethan felt something shift in his heart. I was just trying to survive, he said. Thalira smiled gently. That's why I trust you. She reached out and took his hand, the same hand still marked by the glowing symbol of their bond. For my people. Marriage was always a duty, she continued. But now, I want this to mean something real. Ethan squeezed her hand gently. It already does. In that moment, they stood together, not just as strangers forced into marriage, but as true partners. A real bond was beginning between them. One built on respect, trust, and survival. The station creaked around them, old and forgotten, but now alive with new purpose. Thalira spoke again. We will gather the rebels. But we will fight for freedom, not just for me, but for anyone who fears Valdrek. Ethan smiled. Then we'll fight together. Outside the station, the stars glowed brighter than ever. Somewhere out there, Prince Valdrek still believed they were dead. But soon, he would learn the truth. Ethan and Thalira, the human, and the alien princess were no longer just running. They were ready to fight back, and together, they would change everything.